Hello and welcome to Roleplay Rejects, where we play new and unusual tabletop role-playing games. In Side Quest, we're taking a break from our longer stories to play just a few sessions of some very unique role-playing games out there. So sit back and enjoy.
Welcome to Wine About It.
So, my kid has been beating my ass in Uno. Uno of all things.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
with your
All right.
Xbox.
I won one round, I think, out of like the 5 that we played back to back. And there was one time which she skipped my turn 4 times in a fucking row. And like you can't recover from
No,
that.
you can't.
right?
Not when you're playing
It's
two
over
players.
at that
Yeah.
point.
Because that was the issue, right? Is because it
Mhm.
was the reversals that technically skip the turn when it's only down to 2 people. So
Damn.
yeah,
Rip.
it was dumb. I was like, why am I losing so much?
Just wait till she can play Warhammer, bro.
Yeah,
You're
it's
not
true.
ready.
Oh.
No, you're not ready. You're creating a monster.
True, she's got a head start.
Well,
Right.
see,
All
the
tactical
good thing
thinking.
is that after that we started playing Lorcana, and I've won every single game. since that one. And sure, she can't read all of the cards yet, but like,
Excuses. you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
I'm still winning.
honestly,
So-
I barely
That's all that
read the
matters.
cards
Yeah.
when I play anything. I still
That's-
manage to win sometimes.
That's the thing, though. You're starting her on hard mode,
Yeah, true.
and so she's gonna be super strong by the time
Yeah.
she.
yeah, her stats are like
starts
average
playing
right now,
these.
but her scaling's crazy. So
yeah,
by the
that's
time,
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's gonna be decades before she hits
Yeah.
the soft cap.
yeah,
We'll be like, oh, we're gonna enter into this painting competition at like the beginner level,
Mhm.
and she'll be like, the beginner level. Okay. I, on the other hand, have expertly painted my entire army.
Hmm?
And I'll have you know that I am not only in the painting competitions, but I'm also competing in the actual tournament.
And
See
I'm
you guys later.
I'm like 12.
yeah.
She'll be
So-
accidentally using like really like advanced techniques, and someone like the judges will be like, "What did you learn that?" And she'll be like, "What do you? I'm just fucking around. Like, what are you
Yeah.
talking?"
Then
This
they'll
is
whisk her away to
Mhm.
some kid academy for Warhammer prodigies.
Oh, okay, yeah. I want to
It'll be
actually
like-
be able to see her again.
It'll be like that
and
one
it's
book,
Yeah.
the sci-fi book.
Hogwarts.
That's not sci-fi.
Ender's Game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
What?
Ender's Game.
That's a great book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never.
I've never read it.
Me neither. I
I'm
read
sure
like
it's
part of
really,
it.
really good.
Yeah.
I'd never read the follow-ons, but I think Ender's Game by itself is
So the follow-ons really suck as kids' books, but they are really good adult books. So like, it's probably a good thing you didn't read them.
Well,
well,
I did not read them until I was a little bit more of an adult.
Mm.
And I did read part of the next one after that. I just never like followed through with it, but I
Okay.
should have because that shit was wild.
because like the first one is definitely a coming of age story, and then the next one's like 20 or 30 years in his life later, thousands of years because of
I
space.
love their time
Time
space.
travel.
Time. Yeah.
And there's like themes of like what does religion look like to an alien species, and like how does Catholicism bring in new people and new species. And there's a like portion where there's like kind of a suicide and kind of not, and like there's a whole bunch of like family relation issues. Like it's definitely like an older person book versus like let's go shoot guns in space, pew 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 pew, right? Because Ender's Game, like it's a good time, but it doesn't get like philosophical. Like
Well, I mean, you're
it-
also skipping over the very end about the genocide and,
Yeah.
and all of that.
but
Sure, but it's different.
but the rest of the books start with that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And then it's like, where is the soul? And you're like, oh, okay, I was looking for a happy, fun shoot 'em up time, but now I'm wondering if trees have souls, and I think so. Like, it's awesome. It's really good. Highly
That's wild.
recommend those books, but they are a very different vibe than the original Ender's Game.
Yeah, I never read those books. I was more of a Ready Player One enjoyer.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
That's a really good book.
I did not read the follow-on though. I do need to read Ready Player 2.
Yeah, actually, so do I. Dude,
Is that going to be next in our
I
book
think
club?
so.
All right. After we finish Akatar.
Yeah.
You look unimpressed.
I was like, Akatar. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? But I did it in my head, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's the acronym for Court of Thorns and Roses.
Oh, I thought you guys moved on. I still have
See?
to start the book.
You know, I was like,
Yeah, that was a very Laney of you. I'm not gonna lie. She just makes up acronyms.
No, that's not. That's very common.
Is it?
Yeah.
oh yeah, it is.
I
I
wouldn't
learned
know. I
that
haven't started
from
reading the
ladies
book.
at
I
work.
purchased
I
it.
only know
And
because of
then
Reddit.
Misty.
And I've actually trained for half a decade to be able to hear random shit and be like, this is probably an acronym for something that I know. Otherwise, they wouldn't be using it. And then I go through my lexicon in my brain and I go, a court of. Oh, that's what it is.
It's like, it's always I love you, never, and then it's just a bunch of fucking letters. Does that mean?
Exactly.
People do that with Stray Kids songs a lot, and I'm like trying to figure out what it says, but it'll just be like more than an alphabet worth of characters long, and I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Thinking about dumb acronyms,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a pretty good transition.
It is a pretty good transition. It is a pretty good transition.
Speaking of acronyms, I sent someone an acronym today, and I bet most of you can get it. It is TY4YS.
That was me.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is?
Oh,
Thank you for your support.
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for your
Yeah.
service. Yeah.
Close though.
Close.
Yeah.
Gold star for effort.
The
I mean,
the response back
it's
would,
the
Would
be
be
response
support.
would be-
the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Isn't that interesting? Speaking of the response back would be the same. Isn't it crazy how many words where you don't know what the fuck they mean, but you understand them in their context, so you just go about the conversation as if you knew what that word.
Every single
Yeah.
fucking word that I say is like that.
Dude,
I
it's
don't know their
crazy.
definitions. I'm just like,
Mm-mm.
I heard someone
But
say
you know
this
the
once.
vibe.
Yeah, yeah. You truly, it's like, oh, I know the vibe of this, and then
So I
you
am not
go off on-
Webster, but I know what I mean.
So that's why we should ban acronyms.
Backronyms.
And make everyone read the dictionary.
Yeah,
Marion.
obviously.
At that point, everything's just a
If you
remix.
like so much, marry him.
That was wild.
I do think acronyms should be banned to like some extent,
We
Yeah.
should
unless it's like one of
start
the freak ones.
a group with an acronym that's for banning acronyms.
That would be fun.
Oh.
That would be a lot of fun.
Okay. All right.
Bah. Ban all acronyms.
Bah.
Our logo
Like,
could be a sheep.
or just find the dumbest way to make an acronym, and then as an example of like ban all acronyms, go bah.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
I'm
a
here for
dyslexic
that.
sheep.
Bah.
That's why he wants to ban a
If
lot.
you would like to join Ba, just make sure to send an email to lamauyerstinky@gmail.com.
Yeah. And join the
Oh
Discord.
no, we can't use that email anymore. Lamal's an acronym.
Oh no.
Well,
Oh,
Lamau has become something greater. Its colloquial use actually, I think, justifies using it
Well, wouldn't that be
because
the case
it's not
for?
always capitalized.
But that's all acronyms.
I was gonna say, wouldn't that
though.
be the case for a large portion of acronyms?
No,
no.
because it's only for acronyms that are truly distinct. So for example, right?
Okay.
Like Lamau,
Mm-hmm.
nobody's like LMAO. That's not something that other people use in different contexts. Like it's just laugh my ass off, right?
Laughing, but yeah.
Sure. Same.
Mhm.
The issue with other acronyms is that like they are not solitary things. So have a great example right off the top of my head because it pisses me off every time I go to brush my teeth in the morning. ADA is American Dental Association.
Oh,
But
Okay.
it's also
American Disabilities
Yeah.
Act.
yeah,
Mm.
and that makes me mad.
That makes me mad.
It-
As
like,
someone with teeth and disabilities.
yes,
that pisses me
exactly.
off.
That's what I'm saying.
So upsetting.
Which one are you? So, Lamau can continue to be a sort of word, but like ADA, I don't know what you're talking about. I have both those things. Which one? Which one are we talking about?
I hear you, but I disagree. I think we have to do. I think if we're gonna truly, I think we do away with all of them, and
Yep.
we just start instead of saying Lamal, we just start laughing our asses off. My opinion.
But then we have a buttless epidemic.
No
I think it's
ifs,
worth it.
There's exceptions to every rule.
No.
Okay?
No ands,
Not to this one.
and certainly no buts.
Acronyms all need to go away.
Are we gonna start
Bye, NASA.
another crusade?
Yeah.
Oh man, think of all the agencies that we'll do away with, that will be crushed
And
beneath
then we'll
our
fall
heel.
into
So
chaos.
with that then, right?
Okay.
With
All right.
these agencies like NASA, for instance, are we crushing the entire establishment, or are we just forcing them to be the national?
Yeah, you don't even know what it stands for.
Yeah, I don't even know what it fucking stands for. The space
Is
guys.
it National
Space
Aeronautics
guy.
and Space Administration?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one.
It is.
Yep.
Oh.
I think we're just forcing rebrands.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a
They
little
can
less
They can just
violent.
call themselves Spaceland.
Yeah. Them space guys.
Them space guys. DSG.
GSG.
Okay, but like shortening words though is perfectly fine.
You mean
Yes,
like-
because that's not an acronym.
You mean like conjunctions?
Yeah, conjunction junction.
What's your function?
Junction, junction.
Goddamn.
What's
Oh.
your function?
Took everyone back to the past.
Yeah,
I
I feel
can
like
see
I
it.
remember the rolly cart.
Yeah,
with
the
the
little
TV.
TV on the rolly cart.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
no.
they
And like the
Whip out the
gymnasium,
VCR.
They turn off the lights and you're like, ooh, we're gonna watch though.
and everybody's shoes are wet for some reason.
Wait,
Dude.
what? Why?
In the gymnasium.
Yeah, it's just like
I think that's purely your school thing.
Yeah, I think Utah's
No.
just weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not
it
to be-
is.
Why is
no,
your
it
shoes
is,
always
but
wet?
like
Well,
because it was
because
always
they
during, like,
canceled recess
yeah.
because it was
Because it was
wet
raining.
outside.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
and
that
so
make-
like
that
we
does make
went
sense.
outside and they were like, nope, can't do that. We're gonna go inside, and everybody's shoes are wet.
Can't relate. We had covered areas outside because it rains a lot.
Yeah, see that makes sense.
Dude, That's wild. That's
So we'd
awesome.
just be like, you're playing dodgeball today and handball, and that's all your options where you can go stand by the fence, you freak.
yeah,
Yeah,
where
I'm the
everyone's
freak.
trading Pokemon cards. Okay, the fun spot.
Okay. Back to the original transition.
Oh no.
First of all, I think we lost the music. I don't think it's looped.
It says repeat right there.
Is it checked for all of them?
Oh, there's 2 repeat switches.
There is.
All right. Well, I have turned on
Okay.
the correct repeat switch.
Back to the original transition. We've kind of hinted at this before, but most of us did serve some time in the military. And the reason that we want to bring this up now is because it kind of relates to the game we're about to play, which is Stewpot. And I'll get into the game in a little bit. But I did want to kind of talk about that before we started the game so that things didn't come up and then people be like, wow, that's really personal sounding.
Yeah.
So Joseph, Damien, Wesley, and I, we all were in the military. That's actually how Joseph and I met. That's how I met Damien and Stevie, because we were stationed together. And then somehow, weirdly, we picked up Wesley along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But
It was still through military.
It
friends.
yeah,
was-
it was
yeah,
a
it was-
military friend of a
Mhm.
friend type thing.
so we didn't actually like work with Wesley while we were in the military, but like that's how we kind of all got together. We don't really like shout it from the rooftops or anything like that. We're also not secretive about it. It's more just like we don't want that to be the focus of the podcast.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes because of the experiences that we've had and for the length of time in comparison to the years we've lived, the amount of time we've been in the military, like it does kind of show up in our life experiences a lot more than maybe if we were older, right? Because
Yeah.
once we're old, it will be but a blip. But right now, it's kind of
A big blip.
a big blip, yeah. Is there anything that you guys wanted to say before I started like talking through Stewpot in particular? Don't feel forced to. I just
Yeah.
I didn't want
I-
to be like, now I'm talking. No one else can.
I just want to say it's like IRL lore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it
Or
doesn't-
drop.
It comes up when it comes up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you ask that old dude in the tavern, like why he's always so angry, and then he gets a far off stare. It tells you about boot camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, there's this character in Shakespeare. His name is Falstaff,
Mm.
and he's hilarious, right? This guy's always drunk and he's always like cracking jokes and stuff. And then there's one point where he turns around and he's like, well, yeah, I have to laugh at things because I was in the war and I saw some shit. And you're like, oh, okay, bud. I'm so sorry.
Dang.
Yeah, same thing with Mercutio
Oh,
and Romeo and
yeah.
Juliet.
We saw.
Oh yeah, you guys told me about that before.
Yeah, dude.
We might have pulled a
Mercutio.
podcast. I don't know. We tell everybody. We're like, listen, Romeo and Juliet is better than you think.
Because
Yeah.
they did that one thing that they always take out, but they did it really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Queen Maeve speech, for those of you who don't,
For you less
or I
cultured.
guess for those of you who do know.
Oh, yeah.
Most of you probably don't because it's always taken out. It's okay.
Yeah. The real nerds know.
The only other thing I was gonna bring up is like we don't want to like we didn't mention it a lot because we didn't want to like brand ourselves as like
A military
fucking veteran owned podcast,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then we're like then suddenly feel forced that we have to be all like fucking hoorah yeah.
Oh
throughout the
yeah,
whole
I
thing.
guess
That
that's
would be
I guess
awful.
that is also a good point. I was just like military blanket statement. We were all in the Marine Corps specifically, so
And
in
Stevie
case-
was a Marine Corps spouse, which is
Mhm.
the hardest job in the Corps.
Raw. So if you know anything about the like stereotypes for Marines and like how we like dog on other branches of the military and things like that, if that ever comes up, just know that like it's out of love.
Yeah, it's a older brother, younger brother type relationship where
Yeah.
you're
I'm not gonna lie. I have seen the crayons ready to eat online. I want them.
No,
Dude,
I almost bought
really
them this
want
year
So,
for the
okay.
birthday.
The other day, my ex-wife texted me because we still keep in touch, and she asked me. She said, "Hey, what's up with Marines and crayons?" And I said, "What?" And she was like, "Yeah, my friend was telling me about like something about Marines eat crayons. What's up with that?" And I was like, "No shot. You don't know what you're talking." She had never heard that in her life, and
That's
we were married
wild.
when I was
Yeah.
in the Marine Corps, and I was like, "You're
What?
you're lying." And she was like, "I never heard that shit in my life." And I was like, "That's crazy. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
it-
crazy.
That's
though.
wild.
That's like the one defining factor." of
Yeah,
Marines.
if before you know anything else, it's,
That was-
they eat crayons, and then the second is that fucking devil dogs.
yeah.
Yeah, the whole eating crayons thing was one of the first like Marine Corps meme type things that I learned about.
Dude, I have a
Yeah.
crayon tattooed on my thigh for that reason.
You don't.
He does not.
Wouldn't it be
Well,
pretty
I
cool?
assume
Remember
he
the,
knows.
the
I guess-
chapstick that-
But you could get a
brought
tattoo
that?
I
today.
brought you guys
Today's
chapsticks.
sponsor.
No, I'm the.
Oh, right. No, right. I forgot.
Yeah, Misty got us chapsticks that were
Yeah, mine was
Crayola.
banana. I
Yeah.
mean, yellow flavor.
Yeah, our kid kind of like
Ate
took
it?
it.
Oh.
No.
I ate
Maybe.
mine.
I don't think she ate it.
I hope not.
She
Those shit
she
tasted pretty good.
she had it like up really far, so now it's kind of shaped triangular.
Wait, that's kind of
Like a crayon.
That's kind of smart.
And so
honestly.
she sort of does like. You guys can't see, but she puts lip balm on like a man.
What's that supposed to mean?
That's a little. fucked
No,
up.
it's a thing.
I'm
it's
never
a
putting
thing.
on lip balm in front of a woman ever again.
I know, me
Yeah.
either.
You put it on normal.
You do
A
actually.
lot of men just make a butthole with their mouth and then put it on there.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what they
I had no
do.
idea that this was like a thing people perceived.
No, it is.
I had no idea.
I mean, I think I've seen you put chapstick on like twice. I couldn't tell you how you do it.
Yeah, because My
And
lips
now
are
you know to
luscious.
avoid
I
it.
just realized I don't.
Okay.
And
I don't
always
watch you
cracked.
that much when you put on lip balm,
That's
so
not
now I
true.
don't know.
And now you know to avoid it.
Yeah.
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 So
so-
now I will never.
yeah,
Only in
Be
cover of
self-conscious.
darkness. Yeah.
yeah. I
The
need
on-
to go to the powder room.
The only other thing I wanted to say before we like really got into it is that, like Damien mentioned, like we don't really want to be like branded as like a veteran-owned podcast. Like I guess technically we are, but we're just we're sharing our life a little bit with you guys, and we're gonna potentially share a little bit of like feelings through this game in particular. And there are games that we have in the queue that are a little bit more like military war type adjacent things. So this might come out later, but I guess just like the hope is that we don't focus on us being in the military outside of these episodes, if that's fair to ask. So like in the Discord and stuff, just we don't need to make a big deal out of it. It was fun. It wasn't what's that saying? It was real.
It was
fun.
Fun.
It was not real fun. And we're
I used
done.
to say that all the
So
time.
yeah.
I do want to really quick. I know like this has already come up, but I really want to hammer this point home for any veterans out there that are like, that was my shit. I just want to I want to drive the point that none of us are like, fuck man, we hate that we're veterans, but we also are not like was said previously, that is not what we
Yippee!
introduce ourselves as, right? Like, and this podcast where it exists, well, probably not, but not because we wouldn't be veterans, just because we wouldn't have met. But like, we made this podcast because we love these games, right? And so it's like, while being part of the military is a part of a lot of our backstories, it is not like our defining feature. And so while we like, I'm sure we have our different like flavors of history with our experiences in the Marine Corps, we are neither broadcasting it nor denying it. So don't think they hate the Marine Corps, nor think that they wish they were still in it. Just know that it's just part of our past.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I feel like you put that a little bit more eloquently than I was saying.
That's
guys
'cause
don't
I'm a
get us.
bard.
You guys don't get a Stevie lore drop though. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
they don't-
adopted. There's my lore.
There we go.
It's true.
I
I said it
you're
like a
right.
joke.
We're laughing at like it is the
It
truth.
is true. But yeah, so anyway, the reason that we wanted to have this little conversation prior to starting the game is because Stewpot is, I guess the full title is Stewpot, Tales from a Fantasy Tavern. And it's a cool concept of a game where the idea is that you have been an adventurer, but you are now retiring. And the idea behind it is like, how do you adjust to retirement as you are running this tavern, and kind of helping raise the next generation of adventurers. And so as I was reading the book, I kept thinking about how while none of us retired from the Marine Corps, there is this like big transition that comes from leaving the military and going into the civilian world. And I have not retired yet, but I imagine that it's probably a pretty similar thing where like something that was a huge part of your life no longer is. And like, how do you adjust with that? So as I was reading it, I was like, oh man, like either this is going to organically come up and then we're going to have to like talk about it while we're potentially having a lot of emotions, or we can talk about it beforehand so that everybody is kind of on the same page. But all of us have gone through that weird period of time, including Stevie, right? Like transitioning from being a military family to not is like, it's a weird kind of unknown time period. And so again, while we haven't actually retired, I feel like we do have an experience to share.
We've retired from adventuring.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we just sit in a basement and play games and go to our day jobs.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would be the dream though.
I know, right? So let's get into Stewpot because I'm super freaking excited for this game. I
Love
backed this
stew.
on Kickstarter because I was like, oh, that's a cool concept. And I just have fallen in love with it more and more and more. So I'm hoping that it's fun to play because otherwise I'll be so sad. But Stewpot is a GM-less game. And it is cool for a bunch of different reasons, right? Like the concept of becoming a retired adventurer to me is cool and unique. And I haven't seen any games that really go into that much. That doesn't mean they don't exist, but I haven't seen them. So I was excited about that. The other thing I'm excited about is that this is a series of mini games. And that is really cool to me for a number of reasons. One, there is a different mechanic for every single mini game, which I think is sick. It gives you a little bit of variety while you're playing. Well, obviously, we haven't played yet, so this is all hypothesis.
Hypotenuse.
Hyperbole.
Hypothetical.
Hypothetical. Thank you. Yeah, you know.
Hydrodynamic.
It's all hypothetical, right? Hopefully, this is how it goes. But the idea is that it's cool because each game is different and provides a little bit of variety to your gameplay. The other thing is that it's really simple. As a heads up, I purposefully read like 3/4 of the book. And the reason is because I wanted to learn, like, how does character creation go? How does tavern creation go? And what am I going to expect with the rules? But as I was looking through the different mini games, I had the thought of, like, this might be an amazing game to just pick up. Because one, it's GM-less, so that's like zero prep besides quickly
GMs.
reading. And two, one of the mechanics of the game is that there is a starting mini game that everybody has to play, and there's an ending mini game that everybody has to play. But then as you finish the starting game, you go in like a circle around the table, and then people choose the next game that you're going to play. And so if that's the concept, right, you shouldn't have to have the entire table read through the manual in order to accomplish that. So my thought process was, I will read most of this, and then depending on what game it is, I might not have read it at all. And then we can see, like, just how easy it actually is to pick up as this sort of like popcorn style choosing the game thing goes. The other thing that I want to caveat before we get into it is that literally this morning, I got an update from Evil Hat, the producers of the game, and they gave me, it's called DDD. It's like
Dices. That's all I got.
Dices,
Dungeons,
Dragons.
No, it is Dices. The first one is
Dice, Dungeons, and Delicacies.
Yes. Which I'm really excited about. We're going to play that, like a game or two from that portion. Not in this episode, not in the next, but maybe the one after. But we were here ready to record when I saw it. And so I was like, oh my gosh, yay.
And I'm looking at character classes in there because they look sweet.
Yeah, and so
Me too.
we will be using the character classes and the or can use the character classes and the town classes in there. But I wanted to let you guys know about that too, because I haven't even read it as of this first episode. But yeah. Is there anything else I need to talk about before we start? I feel like I haven't done this in a while, which is not true. I feel like it was just a couple months ago that I GM'd. But
well, if you think about it, you're not GMing because it's a
yeah,
GM-less game.
that's true.
So if you are missing something, it's on all of us.
Ran a game.
Yeah. So are you also making a character with us?
Yeah.
Yippee!
Oh, there is a couple of things. Sorry. This game is written by Takuma Okada. I hope I said that right. It's a really cool concept. There's a ton of artists involved with this. So they're listed in the back of the book. But there's just a lot to like read through. So if we end up posting any of the art, we'll definitely try and tag them. But
oh my god.
yeah, there's a whole team of artists, and the art is stunning.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really cohesive. Like
We
for
could've gone the
having
inside of a whale.
10 or
Or on
so
top of a
artists,
whale.
like it's real cohesive.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty game.
And then, like I said earlier, it is produced by Evil Hat Productions. which did you end up?
She's looking at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you end up
Did
looking
you
at what
end up
other
looking
games
up
they made?
What other games they made? Because I know that they have, but my brain's not functioning.
So they've done Deathmatch Island, which is
Mhm.
one that I've got at home. Might play
In the
that
queue?
in the queue. They also have done Thirsty Sword Lesbians,
There
which
we
is
go.
the one
there
that
we go.
most people have probably heard of.
Yeah, I was like,
Um,
I know them. Like we follow them on social media. Like I just when I went to sit down to talk about them, my brain was like, you know nothing of
Yeah.
Evil Hat Productions.
And Blades in the Dark, Fate, like
Mhm.
they publish a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, they're pretty sick. So they
Blades
did
in
this
the
one
Dark
too.
is where I was
Mhm.
thinking of them.
Yeah,
Um,
that's probably
And like I said, I backed this on Kickstarter because I was so excited about it. And one of the things that like I was happy to see was that they ended up having some issues with the playing cards that they originally produced. And as soon as they found out about the issues, they emailed everybody and was like, hey, so sorry about that. We're going to send you guys brand new cards as soon as they're produced. We know that this affects gameplay, but hold on tight. Like, no cost to you. We're going to rectify it, which I thought was really cool for a game and a company to be like so responsive about.
And not just like posting like, here's the PDF for like the new cards.
Yeah, print them out.
cut them.
Exactly. And like they even listed like what was wrong with them. So if you do go to play like we are today, if one of those cards come up, which by the way, it was only like 3 of them, we know that, so we can still play with this deck currently. And realistically, you can play with any type of deck. I just am a sucker for loot, so I bought the deck that they have.
I
on
have a
Kickstarter.
question.
Yeah.
So is this a card-based kind of a thing?
So this is one of the other
Yeah.
things that is exciting. Okay, sorry, I talk a lot. It's a good thing I have a podcast. This game has a myriad of gaming mechanics. Like I said earlier, like each mini game has its own mechanic to it. You will need a deck of cards, D6s, and a coin to flip.
Did that coin come with the loot?
Yeah,
I
it's
see
really
it.
pretty.
I have an unpopular opinion about flipping coins.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay.
freak.
I hate it. I just don't like flipping coins.
You would rather roll dice?
I would rather roll dice and just do
Are you
evens and
bad at
odds.
it?
I'm very bad at it.
That sounds like a skills
Yeah.
issue then.
Yeah, definitely a skills issue.
I'm
but
bad at it too, but flipping coins is still fun.
I
Is it?
mean, instead of flipping it, you could hold
Spin
it
it.
in your hand and
Oh, it's by
do
you.
the
It's-
dice thing.
Well,
I'm
one of,
gonna do that.
Okay, yeah. You're going to look weird, but it's an option.
Why don't you just spin it?
Because then it'll spin for decades.
I
Never
would
falling
also,
down, proving that we're still in the dream.
I
The
will
lamp.
say that as far as like accessibility goes, if you don't have a coin because it's the year of our Lord 2024, I guess 2025.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
they're
by the time
listening
you
to
hear
this,
this,
it's
yeah.
25.
If you don't just like carry coins on you and you don't buy coin loot, like then you can get, there's apps for that, right? They're just like, if you don't have D6s in particular, there's an app for that.
You can Google.
I was also gonna say
flip a coin.
if you don't have a coin, but you do have dice, one half is heads, one half is tails,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, there's other ways to go about it. The deck of cards, I don't know if there's an app for that. I would
Yeah,
assume
probably.
so.
I would assume so.
Just play
yeah.
solitaire and see what pops up, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I know that doesn't really answer like what's the mechanic, but hopefully that gives you like a little bit better of an idea.
Sorry, I just saw they have a die too. They have everything.
Yeah, it's cute little wooden die, and the
Aw.
6 has a little Stewpot on it with a heart. You guys,
The
the
coin
branding
is so cute.
brand
the
is sick. The
branding
branding
is
is
so
sick.
cute on this game. I'm obsessed with it. If it's half as fun as I think it's gonna be, I will sing its
You
praises
don't
forever.
like flipping coins?
Okay.
Yeah, man, I don't. I don't know what it is.
You don't feel cool every time you do it?
I don't do it.
No, because he's bad at it.
I'm bad at it. The coin's
So
gonna
when
go
we were playing Call of
anywhere.
Cthulhu and I did the ding, you didn't fuck with that?
No,
That's toxic.
That's not
like
toxic,
it's
just
cool. It's
crazy.
cool when other people do it. I don't like it.
Did you try it?
No.
Well, dude, that's your problem.
Well, yeah, that's the issue is that I'm not trying it.
The only reason you're
multiple
bad at
times.
flipping coins is because you don't flip coins often enough.
You know, well played.
Okay. This. So I'm sorry. I'm just gonna keep talking, and you're gonna be like, "Wow, I'm so sick of Misty's voice."
You're running the game. It's literally your job.
Sure, but also, man, do I keep going? I know I do this a lot when I GM, but I am going to do quite a bit of reading from the book because I genuinely feel like this was written so beautifully, and there's a couple of like little stories that kind of give you the vibe of what they're going for, as well as like a few poems in here. And I feel like I would be doing a disservice by just giving you the TLDR of these stories. So I am going to read. Reading in public is weird when it's like
An invisible audience.
well, no, it has nothing to do with that. It's more like if I'm reading a blurb, I can be like, "Meow, meow, 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 meow." But if I'm reading you something that's supposed to invoke emotion, like when I read to your guys' kid, I'm like, man, I hope this is okay. Like reading out loud just always feels kind of weird to me. So, hopefully this goes okay. Okay. It was a few years after I left home. I was broke, I didn't have a steady party, and I was failing most of my quests. I walked into this place that looked real run down, figuring it was cheap. I remember the moment I walked in, how warm it felt in there. There was a crackling fire with a huge pot hanging over it. I ordered soup because that was all I could afford, and the biggest bowl I had ever seen in my life was set down in front of me, with a whole loaf of bread, too. I was halfway through the meal, and flagging.
Flagon?
No. Flagging like a flagon?
Yeah, like a cup.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. When I read that in my brain, it made sense, but when I read it out loud, I was like, "What is that?" I was halfway through the meal and flagging when one of the tavern keepers came and sat across from me. I got nervous, thinking there'd been a mistake. When that didn't seem to be the case, I started feeling embarrassed that I wouldn't be able to finish the food. It was a relief when she started tearing off pieces of bread and dipping them in the soup. It was the first meal I'd eaten in a long time where I didn't feel so alone. Aww.
Flagging, becoming tired or less dynamic, declining in strength.
Oh, it's just the itis, bro.
That's the itis.
Okay. Oh, I learned a new word today.
It is not a cup.
Yeah, I thought it had something to do with the flag in. Like
Yeah,
you
me
told
too.
her. Yeah.
You know the feeling all too well, stumbling through a thick forest, living off stale rations, unable to get a full night's sleep. When you finally arrive at the next town, the tavern is where you find all of the comforts of civilization that you've sorely missed. Your party has been adventuring for many years now. It's a tough job, and it only gets tougher as time goes on. Many adventurers end their travels early. While some prefer a quiet retirement, others remain as restless as they were during their prime. It's quite common for former adventurers to keep busy by running taverns, where they offer shelter, food, and advice to the younger generation. That's what you've decided to do, together. Stewpot, Tales from a Fantasy Tavern, is a collection of minigames that tell the story of a tavern run by former adventurers. It's about hanging up your weapons, selling off your armor, and integrating back into society. So that's the vibe. I do want to go over safety tools. They suggest
Breaks and holds.
They suggest using breaks and holds that are like built into this game. You can obviously also use like X cards or anything like that. But they mention even in a lighthearted game like Stewpot, it's important to have these things available. There are integrated breaks in the game that give players a chance to like take a breather. And they talk through like holding your fist or placing your hand in the middle of the table or just saying hold whenever you have to take a break. Our table, we tend to use a timeout sign just because that's easy for us as far as like recording goes. But just know that you guys have that available to you if anything gets uncomfy or if there's things that you want to retcon. Okay? So, now that we understand kind of the concept, the first thing that we need to do is we need to create our tavern. The tavern is a group thing, whereas like characters are going to be individual. The tavern is going to be a discussion that we all have input on. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to determine our location of our tavern. They have a bunch of examples in here, but realistically, it's like wherever you want it to be, however you want it to go. You have a nose, good sir. What would you like to say?
Yeah, this is the most irrelevant thing, but earlier Damien flashed a picture from the book and it had a whale in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, we're not going to do this. But I was like, oh my God, we could be an underwater tavern in the mouth of a whale. Call it the whale's maw.
That would be sick.
That's
That would be
pretty good.
crazy.
That would be really cool.
That'd be crazy, but it would smell kind of fishy.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why we have aromatherapy. All the candles are fish scented.
Whales are mammals. It would smell mammally.
But they eat fish.
I don't know. Baccarat Rouge is a very expensive perfume that everybody loves, and that's made out of like whale.
Ambergris?
Ambergris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like whale
I've read
vomit,
Moby Dick.
I think. So
A lot
maybe
of
it wouldn't smell that bad.
expensive perfumes. It like really, it just kind of like helps carry the scent, I guess. There's a weird science behind it, but
I don't like it.
you don't
It's
seen
just
a
the
lot.
thought of it.
Oh.
I've seen a lot of dupes for that.
Okay, so do you want to compete with other taverns in a bustling city? Or do you want to be a little shop in the wilderness? Or do you want to be like one of a two-ish taverns in like a small town? That's kind of like the first thing we need to decide. Is like, how are we secluded? Are we in sort of a town, or are we in like a big booming city? That will help us kind of get through the next thoughts for it.
So, earlier, Wesley had an idea
I really like traveling taverns.
about it being like on a train or something. I will counter that
He's
with
countering me?
how about
I've been
we
parried.
are a stop on like the train's route. And so we get a lot of travelers and like people in between here and there, but not the tavern itself is
and our
moving.
name can be a train pun.
Ooh,
Wait,
okay.
wait. You had a nose first.
Oh, you mentioned the whale thing and then a traveling tavern, and I just saw like a small city or a village, I guess, on the back of a turtle that's just like slowly walking around.
Oh, we're gonna be like that one restaurant in One Piece.
One Piece?
Yeah.
One Piece?
Wait. Okay, yeah. That was not on the back of a turtle. That was just on a boat.
Yeah, it was
I
just on the
know,
boat,
but we
like,
were
it's
talking.
still-
It's like whale,
But it's moving.
ocean, train, vehicle.
One
You
Piece.
see?
You see?
I am going to be a Debbie Downer here. I'm a little bit sick of trains.
What?
We have played a lot of trains lately.
But we've never been on a boat.
That's because
We
trains are the
haven't.
perfect plot device.
Okay, sure. I'm not saying I hate trains. I just think
Helps you keep on track.
in the last few months, we have been at a lot of trains
That's
or
valid.
have fought trains or
Yeah, you're right.
I'm on
But-
a train.
but I like the idea of something that moves. So I would be down for a boat, or we could have it be like a fantasy medieval-y type food truck.
Like a wagon.
Yeah. I like the idea of like the traveling
traveling tavern.
aspect of it.
The
if you guys
dragon
do.
wagon.
No,
Oh, you like dragons?
no,
Uh,
Ooh,
absolutely
I was
not.
thinking
a floating
tavern.
like tavern, but it is
flavern.
like hitched to, I don't know, some kind of like pack mule or like some kind of like an animal that would like drag us to the next spot, and then we'd like anchor down there.
We could be like a circus, but if a tavern were a circus,
Yeah,
traveling
and floating.
tavern.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
why
All
do we
this
have
is
to
cool.
float?
I was thinking,
I don't
yeah,
know,
maybe
man.
this is boring, but I was like,
Because
if we were on
they
a,
said something about having like something in the water or in the air, and I was like, floating stuff is
well,
cool.
we're also like this. We're also like, our city like implies the world, right? So if we wanted to do like a skyship tavern, we just could do that, and that could just be a
True.
relatively normal thing, right? Where like cities are built taller, and they're like docks but in the air,
Ooh,
and
okay.
then you dock, and then people go, "Is that the fucking name of tavern here?" And then they come drink.
Secluded tavern 17?
17?
I think we have to do secluded tavern
No,
17.
I want it to be
No.
a
I don't
pun.
want to.
Okay,
I love puns as well.
I'm
We'll
down.
be a skyship. We'll call it the High Noon.
Oh, there we go.
Okay,
We
let's
don't
figure
have
out
to
what
do
we're
that.
gonna be first.
Okay, are we against boats? Does everyone hate boats? Everyone hates
No.
boats.
Down
No.
for a
Who said
boat.
that we
Listeners
hated
are beating
We
me
like
up.
boats.
My leg.
The
I
left
broke
leg.
his leg.
Does anybody feel very strongly about boats? Like either way.
I think I just very strongly wanted to be traveling in some sense.
Okay.
For me personally.
So maybe let's think about the different ideas that we have and let's write them down
Okay,
so, that
so
we
blimp.
can
blimp.
a blimp. Okay.
We can call it blimpies.
No.
I'm on a blimp.
Boats.
We can call it boaties. I'm on a boat. Someone else say something.
I'm on a boat.
I like the idea of it being like a
The whales. mall.
carriage type
I'm on a carriage.
circusy thing.
Yeah. I like the idea of us like just going where the adventurers are and like settling down for a little bit.
That would be kind of cute.
Oh, we can call it.
Going where the adventure. I'm on going where the adventurers are.
We can call it. Oh, we can have like smoke. Sorry, I'm thinking faster than I'm
Like
speaking.
a smoke signal.
You know, yeah, because you know when you can see a bonfire in the distance, you see the smoke. We can
Mhm.
have like the opening of the carriage that has like the Stewpot in it be open on purpose, so adventurers can see the smoke trail and know where we are if they're
Ooh.
adventuring in the area.
And we can magically change the color of the smoke so
Mhm.
they know it's us versus
Mm.
just some rando campfire.
Yeah,
That
and
would
it's
be
because the
cool.
adventurers like us, we can't get robbed because we always have adventurers around us.
Yeah. I think that's really cool. That still goes like we still need to decide though like
A land
I
boat.
kind of let's think less about location
Circus.
and more about these adventurers that we're going to be finding if everybody's cool with that.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
They're all
Are
boats.
they pirate type adventures? Are they on the sea? And that's why we felt like it would be a good idea to like go to them. Are they adventures like us that like not like us like we normally think of that are like in the forests finding dragons and fighting trolls and we go to them? Or are they adventurers that are maybe high up in mountains and a blimp would make sense that we could like do that with?
That would be so sick.
You both have noses. I don't know who went first.
That would be really cool.
He was first.
I was thinking we could be at like the mouth of a dungeon. So the adventurers like go down into the dungeon, they get beat up, they come back out. And we're
Like, a checkpoint
yeah,
in a video game.
and we're the
Yeah.
checkpoint where we're like, oh, that's fancy seeing you again. And like giving them quests and stuff.
Yeah, giving them tips that goblins are weak to fire.
Yeah.
I thought that like the boat would be cool because then we could go to port cities.
That was my thought too.
Yeah, we'll just be like docked there and they'll dock.
I think it would also be cool if there were like seafaring adventurers too. That way,
Yeah.
if they happen to see us on our route, they can be like, "My man."
Yeah, I don't like. I want. Obviously, we're gonna have like adventurers as coming to our tavern as like a big thing, but I don't want that to be the only
Oh.
group that comes to us.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
I like the boat idea because then we can go to different places and migrate with the animals.
But I
Ooh.
think
Yeah, I really like that.
that is true.
Migrate
always.
the
Like, if we're a
monsters.
traveling tavern in any sense, we can do that. Whether it's
Yeah,
boat,
but like
carriage.
traveling with bison isn't as cool as traveling with whales.
Unless
I
they're
don't
sky
know,
bison.
man. It kind of is. You ever seen a bison?
No,
They're
you
really
can't-
cool.
I
you
have
can't
actually.
afford
I've
it?
been to a game farm.
Yeah, they're massive.
Oh, like the Nintendo.
Yeah, their tongue. Ugh.
Okay. To me, it sounds like people are more excited about ocean, water type
Yeah.
stuff. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yeah.
Is that what everybody's
I love
vibing with?
the boat idea.
Okay.
Yes, ocean.
Okay.
travelers.
Sorry, I put my book away as if I would never need it again.
You're me.
Okay, so we keep talking about a boat. I do want to remind us that like the world is our oyster. So it could be a turtle, it could be a boat, it could be a piece of floating. It could be a door, but we let everybody fit in on it.
Yeah.
Rose.
And then we could just say, all are welcome,
Yeah.
even Jack.
Even Jack. Like if you guys want it to be a boat, sick, but just like this is our world. So if you wanted it to be a cool magical beast that we ride around on, it can be, or it could be a boat that's what is the word?
Floating on water.
No, not at
Sentient?
all. No. Could be cool though.
That would be.
Pulled by I don't know, some
Seahorses?
narwhals. Like it can't like there's all these things that we can do. So
Pulled by a Gyarados.
distinctly
Yeah, legally
different
Gyarados.
water dragon
Buddy.
thing.
Yeah.
That's red.
I have a question.
Shiny Gyarados is a red.
And its shiny form is blue.
Oh.
So ours is different.
I have a question.
Huh.
You know, and this is like for listeners too. Just hit us up on Discord and tell us how you pronounce it. You know the word for dragon that starts with a W and like yeah, they're like technically different. How do you guys pronounce that?
Wyvern?
Wyvern.
Wyvern.
Unless you mean worm.
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 You mean wyvern or worm?
The V one.
Wyvern?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Oh.
pronounce it
Wyvern?
like wyvern.
What's the other one? Wavern?
I don't know.
Wyvern.
Oh.
I just
You've
have
just seen it.
I've only ever really seen it and I feel like
Oh.
people have probably pronounced it around me, but I never absorbed it. And then I was listening to an actual play because I was just curious on like who else had played Stewpot already, and they kept saying it wyvern, however you guys said it,
Wyvern.
wyvern, and I was like, oh, is that how you pronounce it?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. That's really cool.
It's weird when that happens. Sometimes I'm like, what the fuck are they talking about? And then I'm like, wow, I've just been saying that really wrong in my head.
The mule and mussel, because we serve like oysters and stuff with drinks. Or
You are getting
mussels.
ahead of the game,
Yeah.
good sir.
Also,
how
on-
are we getting around
On
on the
really
ocean?
quick on what Missy just said about questions for our listeners. Sometimes I say, hey, if you feel me on this, do this. And then you guys do it. And that's sick. I appreciate the ones of you that do that. Please reference what the fuck I said when you do that.
Well, now that we have the quotes channel, that might
Yeah, they
help.
actually, they type one. And I'm like, bro. They at me and they type one.
Yep.
Yep.
'Cause
Which
you
is my
told them
fault.
to.
Yeah, exactly. But now I'm telling you, reference what I said.
Oh no,
The consequences of my
actions.
Not so instantaneous, bro. I'm for just a boat. Me
Yeah,
personally,
I'm
maybe I'm a
okay with
boring
the
guy.
It could
Okay.
be, yeah.
No, it's okay to be quote unquote boring.
'Cause,
Like,
like,
I
I
just
play
I
humans.
wanted
Yep.
I
to
We're on
kind
a
of
boat.
wanted it to be on like a really big giant raft, and it's a building, but I'm also okay with a boat, like a houseboat type situation.
Oh, like a,
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
So it kind of looks like a building.
Like Noah's Ark kinda, where it's like
big.
Or it's got a roof.
it's got
Oh, I was like
it's
not
kinda like
familiar with that. I just forgot about Noah's Ark. I was just like, what do you mean Noah's Ark? What is that? But I know what it is.
yeah, I mean it's just like a
I'm
houseboat.
sorry.
It's just kind of bigger.
It
Because, like
is.
normally houseboats are like I live on the river, but ours is like I live on the ocean.
It's like a shipping
Ah,
container.
Okay.
Yeah.
That floats.
Real
Yeah.
quick, I referenced this actual play. I just wanted to like actually shout them out. It was level 1 geek. They did an actual play on it. So go check that out after this. But finish this one first. Thanks. So we're on a boat and we're going fast. And the look of our boat is what's next. What does your tavern look like? What interests you the most about a building? What draws your eye?
It's made out of bread.
No.
No, that sounds soggy.
Magical bread.
Yeah. Hydrophobic bread.
Yeah. Haven't you heard of a bread bowl?
I have. I don't like them. Hot take.
That's wild.
The walls are made of hardtack. Perfect.
The walls are made of gum.
It looks like a boat with a building.
That's kind of where I'm at too.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not. I like boats.
I want like intricate woodwork.
Beautiful carving.
Like the lace work on bread. Would you say?
Yes.
I would say no bread because
Like the what?
I'm allergic to it.
The lace.
when you like
Do you mean
braid-
lattice?
Yeah,
He does
that
mean
is what
lattice.
I meant.
I was very confused.
Dude,
I
I forgot the word.
understood.
And that's why you're the fucking goat.
I was
I
like,
know.
That's
are
why we
people out
retired
there
together. That's why
tatting
we
lace
started
with
this
bread?
tavern. And the rest of them game like vultures.
Hey, no acronyms, please.
You're right.
Yeah.
No, he's a literal actual goat.
Did you guys know that making
I
lace is
eat
called
anything.
tatting?
I did.
I didn't.
It's cute.
It is cute.
It looks hard.
Yeah, lace is wild.
Okay, intricate woodwork is one of the few
Intricate
actual answers.
woodwork. Are you thinking it's gonna be like?
I think we walk in and we see like really nice, well-crafted wooden chairs that are probably
Made of wood.
made of wood, with like carvings into the walls,
And
of,
it like
ornate
matches
designs.
the outside of it. There's like
Oh.
moss going in between
Yeah.
the like carvings, but the outside of it is like clean.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will say that sounds like a great goal for us to eventually get to. Our tavern levels up.
Oh.
So and that's my bad for not saying it beforehand. I like that as like the goal aesthetic, but we probably won't have like matching chairs just yet. Okay, we start with a comfortable enough but slightly boring, things feel slightly off atmosphere.
Dude, that's
Mm.
me.
For service, we start with the equivalent of like a former farmhand or an injured local guard, like somebody who's not necessarily like in the restaurant business, you know. But we do have that as somebody that we can pull from for an NPC. And then we also have the cuisine rating. We start out with a cramped kitchen, plenty of staples, but nothing fancy. So we can absolutely up our atmosphere, and we will do that as we play the minigame. But I like this idea of it being like this, like wood kind of traditional feeling tavern with like I wish they could see, but like wooden flagons and like really cool like wooden plates and eventually beautiful matching everything and like a hearth that makes it feel cozy. Sorry to.
So since we are like level 1 tavern.
Uh-huh.
Oh, sorry. Go for it.
I like the idea of like, since we're starting off, it really doesn't matter that much, but kind of like the Krusty Krab. Start using the barrels as like stools, like barrels that are full of supplies that we
Ooh.
need.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of using what we have and saving
Yeah, that's cute.
It's like, oh, you want the smoked salmon?
like those big things of.
Can you stand up for a second?
Yeah. Let me grab
let,
that.
let me head over to table 2.
Yeah.
Gotta go get the salmon.
Yeah, I like that because then when we do level up, we could maybe use those barrels as like reclaimed wood and then start making like beautiful carved chairs out of them that like
Still look like barrels.
Yeah,
But,
but,
like,
like
fancy
fancy.
barrels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
barrels
now
for rich
you pay
people.
thousands of dollars
Yeah.
for them
Yeah, 'cause now they
they're
got the swoosh on it.
reclaimed wood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pottery barn prices.
Old crap.
Yeah.
Um,
And now they have just like a really cheap cushion thrown on there, which definitely ups the price. You're
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
I also think that since we are a level 1 tavern, we don't have like enough light to make it feel like fully illuminated in there. Like there's plenty of light, but there's like corners in there that just aren't super well illuminated.
Where the rogues like to hang out.
Yeah.
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 And the rats.
All the rogues
Sea
are
rats?
rats.
Yeah. How do you
Sats.
think the rats got across
Well,
the
I know
ocean?
how they got across the ocean. That's very unfortunate. But um okay, yeah. You mentioned moss
Yeah.
earlier, like in the chinks of the walls.
Mhm.
We all good with that? I think that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Pretty.
You can use it in some of the drinks.
Oh.
I don't know if that sounds good to me.
There's a lot of
but
natural
You can use it
properties
to
that are good
filter
for you.
water.
Does it?
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, we could pour the drinks through it.
Yeah, I knew you could use it for filtering. I didn't know you could like eat it.
Some
Yeah, I
of
might
it.
be making that up.
Not all of it.
That's
So
okay.
I'm pretty sure it does have good stuff for you.
Okay, now we come to the naming portion. The book does specify that we need to come up with a name, but remember that we can always change it if we come up with something new that we like better. And I want to say that specifically for our group because we usually are not great at naming things in like
What?
team fashion.
I've got a great name picked out.
And so I just wanted to be like, if we're not super excited about a specific name yet, that's okay. We can rebrand.
The Starboard Sunset.
Which way starboard?
Starboard is right as you
Because
are.
left
at
has the
helm.
same number of letters as port.
Fucking boots.
The world is your oyster, or Twio.
No.
Bob
Why
would
are
not
you
approve
ignoring
of
Bob?
this.
Honkai Star Rail.
All I can think is crate and barrel.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
No, it's just because I was like, I zeroed in on the barrel, and my brain's like, that's the only thing you can ever think about again.
Yeah, it'd
It's
be
like chicken.
that. Yeah.
The boozy barrel.
I think this is another situation where we should write them down and then as we think of them that we can kind of start low-key voting. I personally don't have the memory that I need in order to hold all of those in my brain at once.
I only remember the ones that Damien said. Sorry,
I
I'm
think
in love with him.
I really like the idea of having it either be. My brain is going to either the moon because of the tides, or something natural because we're leaning heavily on the wood.
Sorry, I thought you meant like the name was going to be the moon because of the tides.
Like that was gonna be the full name.
Yeah, sorry.
I think we're going to take a pause real quick and look up some like seafaring type vocabulary,
Yes,
and then we'll come back with some of our ideas and then eliminate a few. Does that sound fair?
Moonwood.
Okay, cool. Editor, please
Pause.
pause.
Tides and tables.
All
that's
combo.
cute.
Oh, that's
That's
good.
actually- yeah.
Actually, you
That's
know
actually
what?
pretty
We're
good.
not pausing. That's good. We're
Yep,
doing that.
that's it.
I do like
Are you
that.
That's the
guys?
one.
We're all cool with
I'm
that?
cool
Yep,
with that,
that's
yeah.
the
Yeah,
one.
that's really cute.
I'm glad
Okay.
I thought of it.
Good job, Wesley.
You inspired it because
Oh,
you're talking
fuck.
about moon and tides and stuff.
Tides and tables.
Because of Nova, I could only think of Artemis.
No, fair. Yeah.
How the
I thought you were talking about the
Tides of
convention. I
tables.
was like, what does Nova have to do with that? Oh wait, that's time travel. They don't know.
Oh yeah, that is time
Editor,
travel.
cut that out.
I mean, leave it in. What are they gonna think?
it's a teaser.
Yeah, hardly know her.
Okay, so you have a tavern sheet as part of this game where you can write the name, location, and look of your thing. It also has a little space for you to fill out the NPCs, their name, a little brief description of them, and their pronouns. And then on the flip side of it, there's, or I guess on the second page, depending on how you printed it, there is the tavern ratings, or there are the tavern ratings as you advance, and then any of the advancement details that you can write out. So this does not have to stay with me I just kept it so that I could reference it when I talked about it. But does anybody feel strongly about being the keeper of the tavern sheet?
Wesley's got it.
I do not got it. I have the most hideous handwriting here.
Oh, I'll
Damien's
get
got it.
Okay.
But I
Is
make a
that true?
mean pot of chili. I tell you what.
Oh.
You guys wouldn't know because you don't come to my chili cook-offs, but
You don't ever have those.
I'm so sick of this.
That's why we
Oh,
don't
I
go
thought
to
you
your
were just
chili
stopping
cook-offs.
it. I'm so sick, and it's because of the chili that you've been making.
This is why we don't go to the cook-offs, bro.
Okay. So as our tavern becomes larger and more well known, we will improve its tavern ratings. As of right now, like I said earlier, we are level 1 tavern in cuisine, atmosphere, and service. As we start playing some of the mini games, some of the games will help us gain advancement in certain ones, like cuisine, for example. But then others won't have any advantage until we take a break. So there's a game called Wear and Tear, which is the break game. After every third mini game, you take a break to check in, and you play Wear and Tear to increase one of your tavern ratings by 1, up to a maximum of 4. You can also choose to play Wear and Tear on your turn to increase a tavern rating by 1, but then this resets the timer to play Wear and Tear for the every 3 minigames rule.
Oh.
You can also increase, like I was saying earlier, you can also increase a tavern rating instantly by succeeding in certain games. Those are called Festival Day or a Distinguished Guest. If you play those, that doesn't reset the timer for the like every 3 games thing. If you play Homegrown, your cuisine rating gains a bonus point during your next playthrough of Wear and Tear. Each time a tavern rating increases, each player may describe a new detail or feature of the tavern. So that's when like the cool, intricate carvings and stuff will come in.
Nice.
That was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any questions on our tavern before we move on?
I don't believe so.
Are there rival taverns that also travel near us?
Well, I think that's something that we can talk about.
I think our rival taverns are the taverns that are in the ports that we
Mm.
stop at.
Because we kind of become more popular
Yeah.
since we're like the
FOMO.
food truck.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we bring stuff from other places.
Like moss.
Yeah.
Okay. We love to bring invasive species.
Like those lantern flies.
Yeah.
Here's some rats.
We actually kill lantern flies on site.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
In
people
the
think
game,
I almost
too.
fell, but I was just stomping on a lantern fly.
Dude, it looked like a war zone outside of work. Like
It did. It was crazy.
everyone was stepping on them, and so like it was just like bodies. It was like you know how have you ever been to like a nasty like high school stadium where there's a bunch of like gum on the ground?
Mhm.
Yeah, it was like that, but 10 times as much.
Or World War Z, but instead of the zombies, it's lantern fly bodies.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Correct.
exactly.
Okay. Are we ready to create characters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to read the cute little poem beforehand, and then we'll get into it. Autumn leaves and rusted blade, dented shields and flickering flame. Warrior, what is your fate? Tattered robes and crumbling stone, ragged breath and broken bow. Warrior, where will you go? Aching scars and restless nights, the cold inside your bones, hands so skilled at taking life, must learn to help it grow. And now we create our characters.
Yippee.
All right.
That was nice. I like the vibes of this book.
They're so cool. Like, I was reading through it, and I'm not a great reader. And so I usually have to take a lot of breaks while I'm preparing for a game because I just can't read anymore. And I'm like, if I read one more word, I'm going to scream. But I was sitting down reading this book, and I was just like, man, this is so nice. Like, It's really simple. There's not a ton of text, but the text that is there, I feel like needs to be there, and I appreciate that. I feel like they really curated well. Um, so when we create our characters, we have this adorable freaking character sheet. Oh, and another thing that I like about this game in particular is the fact that the character sheets come in both color and black and white
It's important.
versions. It really is important. I wish more games did that. We have the cute colored versions that are like kind of watercolory looking. But anyway, I wanted to say that because I think more games should do both versions. Because sometimes you don't have colorful ink in your printer. You're lucky you have black ink in your printer because you forget to buy ink.
And sometimes your printer only prints JPEGs.
Yeah, sometimes.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why we asked you guys to print them off.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't
it's
know what's wrong with it.
terrible. I'm so mad. We should throw it off the third floor.
We could. Anyway.
So excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, like an office space type thing, you know?
Yeah.
Feels
Coming with
correct.
baseball bats.
Yeah.
And just...
We'll invite you guys over. Anyway, the things you need to create your character are a name, a look, which includes your weapon, armor, and quirk, an adventure job, 3 adventurer experiences, and then a town job. As you play, you'll also write down keepsakes, which they have these little boxes off to the side for your keepsakes. I'm going to go into each of these categories really quick, and then we'll go off mic to make these decisions so that people don't have to hear our analysis paralysis. And then we'll jump on and let them know how it was really hard to choose things because you only get 3. First thing is your name. Your character's name can be given, chosen, or something else. In addition to your character's true name, some characters might have a nickname that their coworkers and regulars use instead. So just keep that in mind. Look, your character can look like anything, but their clothes, the things they carry, and how they move through the world reveals their past. What parts of being an adventurer still show? What have they worked to change? Come up with your own details or choose one weapon, armor, and quirk from the table. And then they have a really cute little table that they've laid out, which I appreciate because sometimes you're just not feeling that creative. And I love when they give you solutions for that. This is going to be one of the more important ones because I like the name and look is pretty self-explanatory, right? But the jobs and experiences are a little bit more important just because it's a different system than the traditional class system. So when you're creating a character, you pick an adventurer job and a town job. And then the adventurer experiences, but you're not going to pick any town experiences yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Characters can have the same jobs or experiences, so you could have an oops all clerics type situation if that's what you choose. If some of the experiences in a job don't make sense for your character, create your own appropriate experiences or borrow from other jobs. So in the actual play that sit level 1 geek, they had somebody who had as they were describing their character, let's say it was a druid, they had 2 of the experiences under druid, but then they ended up choosing one of the experiences under poet, let's say. That's totally fine. They kind of put these experiences under each of the adventurer jobs just as normally poets do these types of things to help you. Your jobs represent roles or activities you took on as an adventurer and what you do now in town. They're a bit like classes or playbooks you might find in other games. Your experiences are special skills, training, feats, knowledge, etc. You've accumulated over Goodness, I wish I could read. Your experiences are special skills, training, feats, knowledge, etc. that you've accumulated from your time as an adventurer or living in town. Since we are fresh to the quote unquote living in town portion, that's why we don't have any of those experiences yet. As you play the mini games, you'll use your experiences to overcome obstacles. When you use an adventurer experience, cross it out.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of
Okay.
cool. When you use an adventurer experience, you're going to cross it out. At the end of that mini game, you'll gain a town experience in exchange. When an experience is crossed out, it doesn't disappear. That's very important. It served you well at one point. It might not. It might be hard to see yourself as someone that doesn't do that anymore, but you don't need it here. You can put it away for now. And then when you do end up getting rid of an adventurer experience, or quote unquote getting rid of it when you cross it out, you're going to briefly describe how you let go of that adventurer experience and how your time in town helps you gain the town experience. So that is something that will happen each time. In the base game, there are the following adventurer jobs: Paladin, Wizard, Fighter, Rogue, Druid, Bard, Ranger, and Swashbuckler. And then the town jobs are Farmer, Healer, Chief, Chef. I promise I learned how to read. Still hard. Poet, Merchant, Crafter, Scholar, Lookout, Apothecary, and Hunter. And then in the DDD that we referenced earlier, if someone wouldn't mind pulling that up for me really quick and reading the adventurer jobs and the town jobs, just so they know what we have to pick from.
Sure. Adventurer jobs are Augur, Beastmaster, Modder, Shadow Spinner, Spirit Caller, and Warlock, and the town jobs are Ice Vendor, Magitech Farmer, Matchmaker, Mezzo Soprano, Playwright, and Tattoo Artist.
Cool. So we're going to go ahead and choose these things, and then we'll discuss further on mic. Okay. So we went ahead and created our characters. I think we just go around and talk through each of the things that you wrote down. If you want to describe it further now, you can. If not, it will likely come up in game. That's kind
Dibs.
of the point.
Dibs. My character is Julius O'Gloon, who is a slightly overweight human male with a button-up and shirt sleeves kind of rolled up and like a smaller kind of like a ascot kind of a thing around his neck.
Fancy.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that the quality is necessarily fancy,
Okay.
but like it's, you know,
It's got that vibe, like
yeah,
the way
got,
he wears
got the
it.
vibe,
Yeah.
The weapon that he once used was a smooth stone orb with symbols drawn on it in red. This was something that he did, like he found the smooth stone and then he started to like draw these arcane symbols as his own abilities grew.
I can like see him going, "This is a nice rock," and then just taking it with him.
Yeah. I don't know, something latent, something
Yeah,
arcana,
yeah.
something. The armor that he wore was a slightly more form-fitting robe that is blue with like a silver filigree kind of around the edges. And his quirk is slow, measured movements, and I'm also gonna say like sometimes slightly slow, like speech. Adventuring job of a wizard, if you couldn't pick up on that. His experiences are
You said it
I
so
know.
well earlier.
prestidigitation,
There you go.
magic missile, and arcana.
Whoever made that word, what a fucking fuck you, man.
I don't know. I think it's pretty cool.
It's
There-
cool to hear, but like,
It is.
dude.
It's terrible to read and then try and pronounce.
Yeah.
Dude, Ginny D had.
Yes. She
Did
talked
you see
about
that
it,
one?
Yeah.
She's like, I love spells that sound like what they're gonna do, like magic missile or fireball or prestidigitation. Like, yeah.
And the town job that I have is lookout, so I'm probably going to be in the crow's nest
Because we're on a boat.
because we're on a boat.
All right, my guy, his name is Norman. He is a dwarf. He wears a warm cloak. He has a cut over one eye, and he cuts his own hair. Yeah, it looks really good from the front. The back, not so much, but
Starting in the back.
he keeps it like close cut on the sides and the back, and then has a really long like ponytail coming down from the top of his head.
Kind of like the what is that called? Like a wolf cut, like the
Is that what it's called?
No. The wolf cut.
I could be wrong, but that's okay. Continue.
Okay.
I'm not gonna look it up. So
His job while he was still in was a farrier. He would reshoe horses.
I've seen a lot of
And-
videos
Not what I
about
thought
that.
that was going to be.
Yeah, so it comes from ferro, which is iron in Latin. Yeah, because they are essentially blacksmiths with the horse specialty. Yeah,
Subclass of blacksmith.
exactly, right?
Interesting.
Or subclass of beastmaster, which is what I am. So, yeah, that is my character.
what's your job now?
I am a farmer,
Mm.
so I
So
tend
now you
to
grow the
our-
iron.
Yeah.
So I tend to the little like plants and stuff that we've got on the ship.
That we will
Speaking of
eventually
which,
get
on
on the ship.
in Factorio, you know,
That we will
there's a new
eventually.
planet where you're going to be
Oh
able to
my gosh.
actually grow iron and copper, and
That's wild.
I'm excited to get there, but also terrified because everything on there is alive. So
Terrified. More
do
like
with that what you will.
verified.
Hey.
Math
Sorry, kill
radical.
me. Sorry about that. I had to, or it would repeat in my mind.
That's fair.
My name is Lena. I have pale skin, dark red straight hair that I keep in a ponytail. I am tall and all tatted up. My weapon is a tattoo gun. I don't know if I want to flavor it as more of like a blade or a needle type of situation. My armor is like gloves covered in runes.
Cool.
And my quirk is I bounce my knee all the time. Oh, yeah. My adventure job is a modder. My town job is a tattoo artist.
Can you talk about what a modder is and like as far
Um,
as this game goes? Because I don't know that that's like a normal
That's fair.
known thing.
I will read the little blurb so I don't mess it up. It's an adventurer who fuses, stitches, and sticks enchantments to their body to adapt to any situation. You're a walking shapeshifter, a toolkit, and a weapon. With enough resources and recovery time, I can be anyone and anything.
That's sick.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
So my thing, I have a bunch of like tarot cards tattooed all over my body, so I can use like the 10 of swords if I need a really powerful weapon. But that's kind of how I'm flavoring it.
Yippee. I am Leon. I am a human man. He, him pronouns. He wears like baggy cloth pants and just like, I guess normal, like if you go to like any Ren fair and they have the default tunics for rent, that's like are basically like V-necks but like made of rough cloth. That's what he wears typically. He has like pretty decent muscles and like a good amount of scars on his upper body. He still wears his shield on his back that he used to use when like for combat while adventuring. His quirk, this is like kind of part of his look and his quirk, but he has really bad like resting bitch face. And so he looks kind of unapproachable, but then when you start talking to him, he gets really animated and his face lights up and he's like a lot more approachable once you've already approached him. He still wears a necklace with like his, yeah. Sorry, I was thinking in my head. I was thinking about how to describe this because it's like his family's crest. But this will be like, I'm not sure this will come up, so we'll just do this as like player knowledge, not necessarily character knowledge. But it was given to him by someone who like not by a blood relative, but someone who like helped him, who raised him growing up, and so it's like his family crest, but not his family crest. But he still wears that around his neck. And his adventuring job was that of a paladin, and now he's taken up the job of a healer. That's my story.
It's cool. So my character's name is Ren. She goes by she, her.
Is that with a W on the front of it?
Yeah, WREN.
Like the bird.
Yeah. I'm gonna switch to first person. I wear black form-fitting leathers and have gloves that have adjustable fingertips, so you can move them off so that you can use your fingers normally and not have that weird dumb.
Like when you want to scroll, but you can't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I have short hair that can easily highlight or hide my face depending on what I am trying to get away with. And I'm very small and very pale. I have twin jeweled daggers that I keep on display near the bar. They're there mainly because they're pretty, but just in case, they're easy to grab. My armor, distinct part of my armor is that I have black boots with not a speck of dust on them. And then my quirk is that my shoulders tense when I hear the sound of metal. My previous job was a rogue. I have Cat's Grace, which is agility, Sixth Sense, which is never be caught off guard, and then Adder's Fangs, which is proficiency in deadly poisons and their antidotes. And my new job is to be a chef.
That means we can do puffer fish stuff.
Oh.
Because poisons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking is I forgot about pufferfish in particular, but there's a lot of seafood that has to be prepared just right, otherwise you'll kill people. And I think kind of messing with poisons and understanding ingredients that way was really interesting, and so I moved into
To not poisoning
not
people.
poisoning people.
Okay. I get it.
And I wanted to vet this with you guys before just giving it the go ahead, but I was thinking it would be kind of cool for us to have acquired this boat kind of Dread Pirate Robert style, where at one point it's a Princess Bride reference.
We made you watch that movie.
I've seen it before, you guys. I just don't know anything outside of the context of immediately watching that movie.
No, it's okay. Where I was captured on a pirate ship at some point, and
I remember.
then eventually had a good standing with the captain, and then he died and gave it to me, and I was like, well, I don't really want to be a pirate. I'm already wanted in a lot of cities. It's a great way to not get in trouble, never stepping foot in the cities.
Stand on
That's
the boat.
actually big
Yeah.
brain.
And so eventually when we ended up becoming our own little tavern party, that's where I was like, oh, I have this boat I haven't known what to do with. If that's cool with you guys. Because I know we were trying to figure out how did we get this boat.
Yeah, I like that.
I too am okay with that.
Okay with it?
Yeah.
You hate it.
In a good way.
Okay.
Sorry, it's just the phrasing I picked. It didn't sound enthusiastic, but I am.
No, it's okay. Okay. The other thing with character creation that just to be aware of is the little key. What's up?
Do we? How old do you think your characters are?
Ooh,
That's
a good
a
question.
great
Because-
question.
I imagine I'm still relatively young. Yeah.
I am not. I want my character to like human age look around 50.
Okay.
Like,
I was thinking 53 for mine.
hey,
I was thinking like 29.
Yeah, I was thinking 20, late 20.
I was thinking late 20s, early 30s
Yeah.
for mine.
Like right on the precipice of 30, about to hit that
Are we
midlife
too old?
crisis.
No, okay, so and
No.
maybe this will probably, let me know if, editor, listen, I don't know if people are going to want to cut this out because I don't know if it's going to come up in game, but this is personal to me, so like, I want to share it at least with you guys. But the reason I want my adventurer to be retired young is because I imagine I really liked, this is basically a one-to-one parallel for me in the Marine Corps in real life, right? Like, I get a lot of people joke when I'm like, oh my god, the Marine Corps is so cool, and some people even give me grief for it. They're like, why'd you get out then or whatever? And I think, like, for me in real life, I got out of the Marine Corps not because I didn't want to be in it anymore, but because I would be sadder being in the Marine Corps and away from the friends I made than I would be vice versa, right? So I do carry like a little bit of sadness in my heart that I didn't re-enlist, right? And so I think in this case, Leon is the same way, where he met some people he really wanted to stay around. And so as much as he loves adventuring, he loves these people more. And that's why he, I don't know, be cooking stew. That's why I'm young.
cool.
So you don't have to be young. For me, like, I had a reason to be young. And so I was just curious if other people were like old and I was going to be the weird guy. But then I can pick up heavy things.
Also, our things are like probably less physical things. I don't know how to describe.
You mean like
Yeah.
tattooing?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
being the Beastmaster, like I was not front lines, like fighting every day.
And I was also support. So maybe
Yeah.
support classes just
Yeah.
retire later.
Potentially, right? Like,
I mean, it
think
makes
it kind
sense.
of makes sense.
Yeah, it's less like it's less work on your body.
In certain ways.
See, I think that's kind of interesting because I also assumed my wizard was probably more of a support role, but because it was so high stress that everything relies on you.
Ooh,
Mhm.
okay.
That's how I feel when I raid in
Alright.
Final Fantasy 14.
Dude, air traffic controller, most stressful job in
Yep,
the Marine Corps.
Yep.
Yep.
Especially after that one episode of Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, that episode was wild.
Wait, what episode?
Do you not remember
Is
that?
there
one?
an air traffic controller episode?
Yeah, I don't want to
yeah.
get into details of why he's big sad,
Mhm.
because that's gonna require its own content warning. But he ends up big sad, doesn't really focus on his job, and as a result,
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Man, I need to rewatch Breaking Bad. That was a good show.
I'll be honest, I don't remember most of that section of it. So
Yeah.
Well, because that was during like the slower part of Breaking Bad. So
Cool. Yeah, and I want to be old because I don't think my guy got out. I think he was forced out, and so like he did like 25 years, and they were like, dude,
go home.
yeah, because in the U.S. military, for all y'all international listeners, at about 20 years they start forcing you out and being like, if you're not an officer that's like doing a desk job, go retire, do something else. I know a lot of other militaries you can be in for like 40, 60 years, but and so my guy got to the end of like the normal like country's service, stayed for another 5 years, and then they were like, no, you like get out, like
Yeah, the Adventurer Guild's like stopped handing him quests.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's why he's old. The end.
Yeah, and also there doesn't have to be a reason at all. I just had one, and so I wanted to at least share mine, and then I wanted to know if I was the only 28-year-old, which
No.
would have been fine. You can go on now with the game.
I'm old because time passed.
Yeah.
The
That's
old
fair.
inevitable.
I think I wanted to be young because it's like, you know, she kind of started life in a bad situation and then got weirdly got a second chance by being a prisoner on this ship and is taking it now before like the rest of her life is ruined. So it's kind of that like hope for this new life to be a better one than what she started with. Okay. Keepsakes. So the right side of your character sheet has keepsakes. Keepsakes are items, trinkets, ephemera, and other physical reminders of the relationships between your characters. They can be a wide range of things: tickets to a show, a funky little clay guy you found at the market, a necklace made out of a shard of an old weapon, a cookbook you hunted down that you think your friend would really like, a dried flower, a basket you pass back and forth filled with baked goods, or a wooden spoon you carved, or like whatever. Some of the mini games mention keepsakes directly, usually at the end. Most of them don't. And a few are indirect. If something comes up in game and it feels right, write it down.
Does it have to be something physical that can be like taken away from you? Because like maybe I got a tattoo from Stevie, like that could be considered a keepsake.
You can
between
take a
the two of
tattoo
us.
away from someone.
You can.
Especially with that class, the shadow thingy. If you can get your shadow ripped away from you, surely you can lose a tattoo.
That's a good point. Okay, I rescind my statement.
I personally feel like it's fine that like a tattoo is a physical reminder still, right? Like
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's what keepsakes are.
Cool.
I don't know that any of us have any written down just yet. It doesn't really specify whether that's part of character creation. I want to double check before I... Yeah, it doesn't really specify that it's part of character creation. Yeah, it says as you play, you'll also write down keepsakes. So that is part of gameplay. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't lying. Okay. I think there's another part I want to read, but I think I will save that for the beginning of next episode.
Okay.
And for now, we'll get into our very first game.
Yippee.
All right.
So one of the cool things about this book, I keep praising it, gonna keep praising it, is that each mini game has little symbols next to it, so that you can easily reference what type of game you're gonna get yourself into.
Oh.
So a little bean is for games that are good intros after the first step, which is the first mini game that we're gonna play. Little leaf guy is for games that games with core mechanics or a unique structure. A little pumpkin is for games that are mainly prompts for freeform roleplay. And then a little Stewpot are games that let you upgrade the tavern. And then, I don't know if I've already said this, but essentially what's going to happen is we're going to play this first game. And then from there, we go around the table picking a new mini game until we decide we're done, in which case there is a final mini game that is like the ending story.
And after every third game, we have to play the break one.
Yep. That one is called Wear and Tear.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, so the first step is a little pumpkin guy, which means that is going to be mainly roleplay. Everyone plays this one. Every character gains one town experience. Take turns describing a short scene that led to that experience. Other characters can be in your scene, but they won't gain the same experience. So this is going to be roleplay heavy. If you'd like example scenes, there's some in the PDF/book. But the main questions are, what were you doing before you decided to stay in this town? what was the first thing you learned about life after adventuring? I would like to point out that we don't really have a town and that we kind of are still adventuring.
Kind of.
So I do think that that's worth us talking about a little bit, potentially. Why we maybe decided that a normal life in a town wasn't it. And then I do think that maybe like we stay around the coast. We don't really like go very far from it, from port to port. That way we're not like secretly adventuring when we're supposed to be in retirement. So
this is role play, but it's kind of like monologuing until we get to the ship. Is that how I'm seeing this?
it can be. You
Okay.
are going to describe a short scene that led to your town experience. So go through and like look at like the town experience, and then like how did that affect your choice to do this tavern?
Okay. So,
Have you gained a town experience?
I do that right now.
Mhm.
Okay. It's Weathervane.
For a second, I forgot that there was like an actual thing. I was like, I will mark 1 XP, but no, it's like actually a thing.
So, Norman, this is right after he got like forced out. They gave him his final paycheck. He's got like a little rucksack with all of his clothes. It's mostly still military stuff, but he's got a couple of pairs of civilian clothes in there, and he is walking back into his hometown, and he's looking around, and he barely recognizes the streets. Right, a lot of new buildings have gone up. A lot of his old like favorite restaurants are gone now, and he's walking along Main Street and just like barely recognizes the place. And a friend of his steps out of a restaurant and is like, "Hey, are you Norway? You look really familiar." Like, yeah, I used to live here. A long time ago. Oh, well, welcome back then, I guess. Oh, it's great seeing you again, Norway. And he looks inside the restaurant, and like as he like continues walking, and he sees a girl that he went to school with, and she comes out and kisses this guy, and then like 10 kids follow after her, and they like start herding all the kids and heading off to their little dwarf home down the street. And he makes it back to his family's house and knocks on the door. And so his dad opens up the door. It's like, "Oh, Norman, what? We weren't expecting you. It's been like 5 years, but usually you let us know when you're prepping to come down." Like, "Well, yeah, Dad, I'm sorry. Like, it's a little more unexpected than before. I'm done. My time in the military is over. My time in being an adventurer, military."
I mean, it could have been a military, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
a militia.
It could be like the time in the guild.
Yeah,
kinda
that's
thing.
that's how I'm picturing it. Like, he took care of the horses for like a guild or something. And his dad's like, "Oh, that's great. Does that mean you're coming back? You're settling down here?" It's like, "Oh, I'm not sure yet. I'm still trying to figure out where I fit in." And but do you have a room for me still? He's like, "Oh, well, it's become my bowling alley, but we can put a mattress in there." And I go back to where I used to have a room, and they've knocked out like the wall between that room and the room next to it and the room next to it, and it is a bowling alley, like just 2 lanes. And like, well, just don't scuff up the lane if you can help it. But yeah, we'll get you a mattress from in town. I mean, I don't think anything's closed yet, so I'll go figure that out. You make yourself comfy here. And he puts on his hat and heads out the door, and leaves me alone there. And I kind of start looking around the house, and like they've taken out all the carpet since the last time I've been there, so like it doesn't even like feel right as I'm stepping around. I'm looking around at the pictures, and I can see like my brothers and sisters' families. In my headcanon, dwarves all have massive families. So I'm looking through these, and like I recognize my brothers and sisters, but I don't recognize their kids, right? And I'm looking through it, and I'm like, man, what was that one's name? It was Petra, something like that. And like, kind of trying to get my footing around the house. As I am looking around and like kind of examining up and down the street through the windows, like kind of sneaking, peeping on my neighbors or whatever. I'm just realizing that I don't feel comfortable here anymore, and that I don't want to settle down in this area. And so my dad comes back with a bedroll, and he's like, "Oh, this is so great. Like we can put one of these walls back up, I guess. I don't use this that much anymore." Like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Dad. Like I'm gonna be here for a little bit. Like I still need to figure out where I'm headed, but I think I'm gonna go to the coast this week and try and find a job." Like, "Oh, well, the coast isn't that far away, so make sure that you can still stay here during the nights if you want. I know it's like an hour there, hour back, but it'd be great to catch up a little bit." Like, yeah, it would be. But I need to find something to do where I'm gonna go a little crazy, and that's where I want to end mine.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how did that
Oh, dang.
lead to your experience?
That was
No,
supposed to
it's
lead
okay.
to
It's
weather
okay.
vane. Wow, that does not lead to weather vane at all.
It's okay.
What is weather vane?
I essentially can like feel the weather, and like tell when like a storm's coming.
The storms are brewing.
Storm's coming. So yeah. So I
Need help?
Man, I should have just
Okay.
weaved that in as I was going through the town, because that would have made a lot of sense. Be like, "Oh man, in my bones, I can feel it."
We can just pretend you did.
That's exactly what I
Yeah.
did.
I was gonna
Exactly.
say, or you could be like, "I don't think I should go tomorrow. It looks like it's gonna rain,"
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
I should get going now because
It
it's
looks
gonna
like
rain
rain.
soon, TM.
Ooh, yeah. So yeah,
You did that.
that's what I did.
Yep.
And yeah, he does have some like aches and pains, and that's how his weather vane experience manifests. Is he can feel it in his bones as the pressure's changing and like a storm's coming.
Cool.
Yeah.
Before anybody goes, I have changed my story. The Dread Pirate Roberts thing.
Okay.
I've decided that I was originally captured on this ship, but I am now married to the captain, and he's a retired adventurer,
Okay.
and saw how much of a toll it was taking on me, and encouraged me to retire. But then I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do with my life?
And he's like, "You could marry me,"
No.
and then
No.
sunset.
No. We're already married.
Yeah,
You
they
could
were already
marry
married.
me again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, why she would be like, what the fuck do I have to listen to you for?
Yeah.
Why would I retire because you told me to?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was picturing the Dread Pirate Roberts story still.
I
And,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
no,
Yeah.
no, it's not. It's
Okay.
not that anymore. I just was thinking about it, and I was like, actually, I like making this a little bit more personal. So,
Okay.
yeah. So I was encouraged to retire because I was stressing myself out too much, and that's how we have a ship, because it's my husband's ship, and he was like, "Oh,
I got a ship.
you like cooking? That's fun. That could be something to do, maybe." And I was like, actually, yeah, you're right.
Cooking fucks.
Yeah. So I just wanted to lay that out there in case anybody was relying on my Dread Pirate Robert story from before for their their little scene. So
I was looking up stuff when you were saying that, so I didn't know. So I was really excited when you're like, I'm changing my story. I was like, now I get to know.
perfect. I
Like-
did that for you.
I don't remember, like, did we know each other before?
I don't think we
Did we
really landed
decide
on
on
that.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. The book says that we were a party that like retired together, but I don't think that that's necessary. I think it's kind of cool because like Damien was saying, I don't remember if this was on mic or not, but it would be kind of cool for us to like not really know each other and then meet and just vibe really well together, and then be like, oh, it'd be fun, this side project, kind of like real life.
Okay. Because I was also, for my thing, I was going to, like, go back home, too. But then I was like, wait,
Do it.
okay.
Yeah.
Mine's sad, though.
Mhm.
And I was like,
Mine
oh,
is
no.
too. Yeah.
Adventurers become adventurers because they're sad at first,
Mm-hmm. No, sorry. I don't have to. I realize we do this when we have to say something. I just didn't want to go next. I was like, no goes.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
I was
down.
going to.
Okay,
Or-
fight to the
So I
death.
can be done being sad in my head.
Perfect.
And I could be outwardly sad and make everyone else kind of sad.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Suffering, sadness, shared.
Okay. That was the acronym for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Do I say the experience first?
Yeah. It's says every character gains one town experience. Take turns describing a short scene that led to that experience.
My town experience is focus. Dedicate yourself to tasks for hours. So, I also, when I finally decided to was just too exhausted and I wanted to find somewhere to settle down. I didn't necessarily live anywhere like nearby the port that we're going to meet at, probably, I assume. But I ended up going back home, but like all my family I didn't have any siblings, I was an only child. But all of my family like my parents have passed and their siblings have passed because I'm old and they're even older because that's how parents work. So I go home it's not like unexpected that I go home to like an empty little house. And like it is the last time I went there, which has been a few years, I have to clean all the spider webs away and sweep any dust. Like there's some bottles there. Clearly people have stayed in there when they weren't supposed to, but I always like to keep like blankets and stuff there because being an adventurer myself, sometimes you just take what's available to you. So I spend hours cleaning the home, and then I go out to the yard and I take a brush and start cleaning off my parents' headstones and like the other headstones around them. But I mainly spend my time cleaning off my parents and like clearing the area around it of like any bushes or anything. Yeah, that's my dedicating myself to tasks for hours. Yeah.
Might go on.
Yeah, more sadness.
Yeah. We open on a dimly lit room, a candle on the table, and like a few stacks of different pieces of parchment. And Julius is walking, well, I am walking back and forth, kind of pacing as I do now. And like reading through a couple of these letters, seems to be some like handwritten notes. And then he sets them down and continues to pace back and forth, rubbing his chin a little bit, like trying to come up with the right words to say. So then he finally sits down at the table with the letter in front of him and starts writing down, "Dear Mom and Dad, I am finally done. I'm finally out of the guild. I can't say that it's the best thing that I have ever done, but I've definitely learned quite a bit from the experiences. I've heard that my brother has also recently left the guild and has moved on to other greener pastures. And now there's even less of a reason for me to head home. And I can like sit there on that word for a little bit. I hope that I have made you proud, Dad, for following in your footsteps." And then I sit there on that one, and then I crumple up the paper and throw it in the trash, pull out a new paper, and just write down, "I can't wait to see you guys again. Love, Julius," and wrap it up and send it out. And that one is Ears to the Ground for the experience, for the fact that I'm like keeping up to date with like all these different parchments, even though I don't mention them in any of my parchments that I send out. So
You've said parchment so many times, and I'm like, man, that's such a cool word.
it is, right? Because it feels a lot more than just like paper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm nervous. I keep like making myself nervous in my head to go.
Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go and get it over with?
I think I just have to go and get it over with.
Okay.
The town experience I'm going for is called Ritual. It is know the traditions and customs of many.
Cool.
And so we come to like an empty field on the outskirts of some town. And we see two individuals sitting on their knees. One of them has not weathered to the point where it's not usable, but definitely like a sword that has seen quite a few years of use. And he sits with it, like almost like meditatively, like with it resting on his lap, across from another individual who looks a lot like him, but is like smaller, obviously younger. And they're just kind of talking back and forth. The younger one speaks first and says, "Are you sure you're done already? Like, I think you've only been adventuring for like about a decade or so, right? I thought you had a lot more things you wanted to do. And Leon speaks back and he goes, yeah, I thought I did too, but I've come to realize that like I think everything I wanted to discover about myself while adventuring I already have. And now I think there are things that I need to find about myself that I don't think I can find on travels. And then he kind of like laughs to himself a little bit, and he remarks, I wish I could pass on more than just my sword, but I don't think any of my armor would fit you. And they both kind of have a laugh between the two of them before the younger one goes, no, I think the sword is more than enough. Honestly, I feel bad even taking it. I'm not really sure I could like follow your example. And I respond, it's not about following my example. It's just about knowing that I'm with you even when I'm not. And then they both take a deep breath. And then I go, do you remember the words I taught you? And the other one responds, yeah, I do. And we see Leon take the blade on his lap, and he thrusts it into the earth in front of him. And he begins to recite the following words. Though my tracks end here, my journey continues. May this blade that has become heavy to me feel light on your journeys. And then the younger individual rests his hands atop of where Leon has his hands, and they recite, I know not the details of your experiences, but those steps will guide me. I know not the weight of this blade, but your faith will serve me. And then Leon lets go, and then the younger one takes the blade and rests it on their lap. They both kind of sit in silence for a minute as like the wind blows, rustling the blades of grass. And kind of to break the tension, Leon goes, well, good luck, and pats pats the young one on his shoulder. And if you ever in a port city and you see the ship docked, come say hi. I'll give you a meal on the house if I can swing it. Good luck, dude. I'll miss you a lot. And they kind of share an embrace as they go. Leon heads back towards the town, and his younger sibling walks away.
Oof, you guys. I told you it was probably going to be
Yeah.
a real feely game. I'm really
Yeah.
excited for it. But man.
In my head, it wasn't as heavy. I was like, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a fun little thing. I'm
Cute
passing on the
idea.
torch. Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
And I started to say it. I was like,
Yeah, I could hear you, and I was like, no.
Joseph, would you mind being my scene partner?
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to be my husband.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need a minute. I'm not
Sorry,
gonna lie.
I
No,
too need a
don't
minute.
Don't be
I'm not sorry.
I think
I'm.
maybe we do a hold
Mm-hmm.
real
Yeah.
quick and
Sure.
kind of recoup, and then we can come back and do.
Fucking
This last-
recoup if you never cooped the first time.
I would like that napkin.
Okay, we're holding.
What's your nose?
I have a nose. I wanted to say really quick because I forgot to bring this up in dialogue during the scene. But that passing of the blade ritual thing that we saw the two brothers do, that is a Fey custom. That's where the ritual learn the customs of other people comes in. It's that he learned that from the Fey on his adventures.
Cool.
That's dope.
That's really cool.
Hey.
Dude, I didn't see the can in your hand. I was like, where the fuck did the second one go?
2 for 1.
I know.
I can throw my voice.
Yeah.
But-
I can also impersonate a can opening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't you?
Dude, people who can make noises like that with their mouth is so cool.
Mm-hmm. I follow one guy on TikTok that does that a lot.
There was a car commercial where it was like it was a choir doing all of the car noises for the commercial.
That's wild.
And they had like a part where it like screeched and there was someone who was like "Arr!" and like
That's
did it
sick.
perfectly. It was so cool. I'll see if I can find that commercial for y'all.
If
I
I,
don't
did
think
that.
I would like it.
I think you would. It's really artsy.
Okay, but is it like scary artsy? Am I going
No.
to go into a panic?
No.
Is it that one lady?
No.
Okay.
It's not.
That's all I hear about with Scream singing. I just can't.
What one lady?
The one lady you showed me.
Yeah.
Bjork, yeah.
Yeah.
She says her name different than that.
Yeah, but I'm not going
What
to.
is it?
Björk or something.
Like-
Bjork.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Oh no! I dropped Fresca on my character sheet. I'm sad.
All right, follow it. We get to do all the military jokes this episode.
Yeah.
That was one of the like most terrifying things was just doing like night land nav, and then just hearing like from a bush the fucking drill instructor just going incoming. So it was just fucking terrifying because quickly after that someone like dropped something and it was just immediately follow it, and yeah, just
That's wild. My drill instructors didn't sneak up on us a lot, but there was one time it was like the second or third day of the Crucible, and so we hadn't had much sleep, and one of them jumped out from the bushes, was like, "I'm an IED, you're dead," and I was like, "I guess I'm dead," because I was the biggest guy.
Yeah,
in our
they want to
little
make other
group.
people carry you.
Yeah, and so
Oh.
I
Yeah.
got to be carried, and it was terrible for everyone involved.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It do be like that.
Yep.
Truly you do.
Always the biggest guy.
Being carried sounds uncomfy.
It is.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the worst.
Do you know stretchers weren't invented until like
1927.
You
Yep.
made that up.
No, I did make it up. Sorry for
No, I
stealing your fact and making
But
it fake.
surprisingly recently,
yeah, surprisingly recently, like I think less than 1,000 years ago. Like
I thought it was gonna be a lot more recent.
I know that doesn't sound
I
very.
was thinking like sub 100 years.
yeah, I thought you were gonna say less than 100 years ago. I was like,
I thought
no
you were gonna
shot.
say 1900s. I'd be like, that's wild.
I was.
What about the Civil War?
I got really sidetracked at work and started looking up first aid on Wikipedia. I don't remember how I got there. There was some reason why I was like, oh yeah, I can follow this to this to this, and
For-
then I was on first aid on Wikipedia.
14th century France.
Yes,
Yeah, I thought that was. I thought you were gonna say a lot more recently than that.
but think about it. We have been
Fighting
killing each
wars,
other
yeah.
for
Forever.
tens of thousands of years.
Since time immemorial.
Exactly. And we've just been carrying each other. Like,
no, you just leave people there to die. Yep. Sorry for interrupting. I just it brought back just a deep-seated memory.
No, it's okay. I don't know.
do you guys want to do a makeshift? We can do a makeshift stretcher after this.
No thanks. I think
I'm
we'll leave
good.
that one.
We can carry stuff around.
I thought you were gonna suggest like a real activity.
Yeah, me too.
There's a real activity.
No, I've crossed that one out and got the town experience lazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Misty and I are thinking about doing the like FEMA group for our county and Federal Emergency Management Association acronyms. Yep. And I'm real excited to do a stretcher and do some like fake bandages again. Like I really enjoyed that part of my time. All right, Misty.
Okay. So the town experience I chose. Who am I?
Done
I'm
choosing?
nervous. I'm nervous.
That's okay. I was nervous too.
The town experience I chose is refined palate, a sense of taste second to none is the description for it. But to go with like my story,
Okay.
I kind of, just so you guys know, I talked to Joseph about it off mic just so we were on the same page. Because it's kind of hard to pull a scene partner in on mic without them knowing what to expect. Versus when you're at a table not recording audio, you can easily be like, "Hey, is this okay?" And then if they say no, you can be like, "Oh, okay, sounds good," and then
Yep.
change it. But when it's audio recorded, it's a little bit more tricky to work that out on mic if somebody does not want it to be on mic, So, but I board the ship, and I've got 2 bags that are way bigger than I am, kind of waddling at this point because the weight is just a lot for me. I walk up the gangplank and kind of just drop everything. And I look around, and the people who are usually on the ship helping with maintenance and whatnot are doing their thing and kind of searching for my husband. And I finally find him, and I'm like, "Oh, awesome." And I excitedly hurry over, and we exchange excitement for being together again. I go on adventures
welcome
quite
back.
a bit. And we kind of I start getting reacquainted with being quote unquote home. We're sitting down at the dinner table, and we start talking about this last adventure.
Well, I'm sorry it's baked potatoes, but I didn't know you were coming home, so I didn't make anything fancy.
It's okay.
Yeah, the crew, they really miss your cooking, but I've been keeping everyone fed.
You're good at making things that are quick, and that's what's important, is that people actually eat.
Yeah.
If it was always up to me, they'd probably get 1 meal a day because it takes me so long to get anything done.
Yeah, but it would taste good.
Yeah.
Not cold baked potatoes.
It's not that cold.
They aren't that warm either. So, tell me about this last one. How'd your adventure go?
It was fine. It was dumb. It was dumb. It's just like last time. Everybody wants to do things their own way, but nobody wants to be in charge. Then I get in trouble for being in charge to just try to create order. But, thieves don't really like having anybody in charge of them. So weirdly enough, a thieves guild doesn't really function very well. And I thought everybody would be adults about it, right? Like I thought we would all go to do our job, and then we'd go home.
The world's a mess, and you've got to rule it.
Yeah. Apparently people don't want me to rule it, though. So, I don't know. Like, it was fine. We got what we were after. I got paid. That's what matters. Speaking of, and I, hand over a sack of gold.
Ooh, that's a good amount of loot.
Yeah. It's pretty good. I don't know if it's worth it, though.
Yeah.
I'm tired. And I'm sick of having to be the responsible one. And
But also you like being the responsible one.
yeah, but not when everybody's fighting against me.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm realizing that I can't do it all. I worry about here when I'm gone. I worry about them when I'm here. You and I have all these plans, and we haven't done any of it because I'm always gone. I just don't know. I don't know what to do. I think I'm done. But then then what, right? Like I leave that and then what? Like
Well.
I don't want to be a housewife. I guess a boat wife.
Well, we do need a cook on boat, right? Our last chef just left. And I'm not good at organizing these guys. Right? They step all over me. I just let them. And, you want another day off? Okay. And like, I feel like a little more organization in a place where you actually are in charge might feel better than being an underling in the Thieves Guild and being not in charge of anything.
Yeah. I will not be able to stay on this boat all the time, though.
I know.
I'll go crazy.
I know. That's why we go into port. Not everyone's a boat body like me.
Okay. That sounds good.
For real?
I don't know. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Can we like make a plan though?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then
I
they
nod.
finish up their sort of warm, more cold now because they talked for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Baked potatoes.
Unseasoned baked potato.
And go off to bed.
You guys have had that conversation. Like,
Uh-huh. Over and
Yeah.
over again.
Yeah.
For like
Some
the,
say if you listen hard enough, you can hear them still having the conversation.
Right? No, like the last year or so that she was in the Marine Corps and I wasn't, there were a lot of that. There was a lot of that because like I was seeing how, how much freedom you have on the outside world and how much control you do get of your life back, but also you lose a lot of structure. So like there is a handoff, right, from being out and being in.
That's an interesting point of view I hadn't considered, because you guys would have like had that duality, like you would have been very intimate with that duality, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
you're out, like pretty significant, not like years, but like pretty significantly
A
sooner.
year,
Yeah. And so that's interesting.
Yeah, it was a little more, a little less.
It was about exactly a year
Yeah.
because it was supposed to be less, but
Yeah,
shit happens.
that's right.
so.
Yeah. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
almost exactly a year.
Dang.
So yeah, we had that conversation a few times.
Yeah, which is why I wanted to like change my original concept because I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't get out by myself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it would be like to be retired on my own because I relied a lot on Joseph's experience, not just because like he's my husband, because that's like marriage or whatever, but like a lot of like how I've been able to like first of all like get out in the first place, but then like how I've been able to process it has been because Joseph and I have a lot of like shared experiences, and then similarly like got out around the same time, but he got out before me, and so I was able to be like, is it gonna be okay? Like, should I just stay in, you know? So that's why I was like, I don't know that I can play a character that like did it on their own, because I didn't, you know. But yeah, that is the starting game. That's where we're gonna end today, I think. We've been here a while, and I think now that we kind of have our characters ready, that it will be a lot easier for the next time that we play to be able to get into these mini games and figure out a little bit more about our tavern journey. But I think this is a good spot for us to leave off.
Yeah.
I can't wait to cook soup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. We haven't done anything with any
Well, we
pots
took the first
or
steps.
any stew.
You made baked potatoes.
I did.
Yeah.
They were terrible though.
Well, I guess not like your character you, but like
Yeah.
yeah,
NPC
you.
husband of
Yes.
Ren.
Baked potatoes were made. They were baked.
Yeah, there was some food.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's stew somewhere.
Next time for sure.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Our listeners will only find out if they listen to the next episode.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Next week on this. I wasn't sure
Yeah.
yeah, whether to say roleplay rejects or Stewpot.
Me neither. I didn't know which one you were gonna go with.
Probably
I would have gone with
roleplay
roleplay rejects.
yeah. Because Stewpot, like, next week on Stewpot doesn't sound the same as like
It almost
next
sounds like
week on
Hell's
roleplay
Kitchen.
rejects.
Next week on Sadness, the TTRPG.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it will continue to be pretty feeling-y, but I also think there will be some semblance of catharsis. So I think that will be nice.
Also, Misty did warn us, but
She
we
did.
were not ready. She warned us. She was like, feelings. And we're like,
nah.
okay, yeah.
Nah.
We're like, we got it. There's
yeah,
gonna
how
be
bad could it
feelings."
be?
And I was
bruh?
like, Lamau, I'm not going to relate. And then I was sad.
Then I got kicked in the feels.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it really kind of blindsided me, but not because I was told.
because I was audacious.
Yeah.
Speaking of
That's why
audacity,
session 0 and pre-session 0 is important.
mhm.
Yeah.
You guys smell bad.
Yeah.
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 Come to the Discord.
Just because it's a new year doesn't mean that like the smells have changed. If anything, they've just gotten worse, a lot worse.
Yeah. Plus
Yeah.
1 year of growth.
Is it a new year? It is a new year.
It is, yeah.
New to someone.
New.
New to everyone.
Not me. I've been here for a minute.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for going on this journey with us. Bye.
See ya.
Later,
Bye.
nerds.
Yeah, we can all sound like howler monkeys.
How does this howler? How? Count?
Howler.
How
Howler.
does it?